Should I buy a treadmill? I wanted to call this video, Should My Fat Ass Buy a Treadmill? But I didn't think YouTube would like that. So here we are. Imagine you're pissed off and you finally decided enough is enough. You're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. Right now, in this very moment, you decide to commit to finally getting off your ass and doing what needs to be done. Here's two scenarios to take into consideration. In the first scenario, you commit to changing your diet and now you're watching YouTube videos about it. The funny thing is, you're probably still full from dinner. It's late at night and the excitement of the prospect of change is keeping you awake. So now you're banking on making the decision to eat better right now, but relying on a future version of yourself to carry that burden. Your mind is going to be running all night long thinking about this new revelation. So you're going to wake up feeling like complete shit because you couldn't sleep. Lunchtime comes along, and hopefully you've still got enough of last night's excitement left over to make the right choice. You try to eat healthy, or maybe just less than usual. As the day goes on, you're feeling completely drained. There's nothing chemically rewarding about any of this. You feel like complete shit, and can only hope you have the will to carry on tomorrow as well. How do you expect to reinforce this new behavior if you have no way to reward it? You wouldn't beat your dog for shitting on the carpet 6 months ago. You need to reinforce the behavior immediately, and you probably don't want to beat your dog. Going on a restrictive diet is putting way too much trust in your future self. Sure, you might be able to sit on your high horse now and resist temptation, but there will come a time where you're back at work and need your sanity intact to carry out your day-to-day operations. So you're really just waiting. That's boring and unrewarding. Sitting and waiting? May as well just go to sleep. So I propose to you another scenario. You've committed to taking action and finally changing your life for the better. So start right now. Right fucking now. Get on a treadmill and start walking. Every minute you're on that treadmill, you're working towards your goals and taking accountability right now. You're not putting all the weight and responsibility on a tired future version of yourself. You're taking full ownership of the situation in the present by working on it right now. You're going to sleep better because you started exercising again. So future you is going to be rewarded with a good night's rest. That alone is going to allow that fucker to make better decisions. You're going to feel good from working out, and that's going to help you make better decisions too. Using the treadmill right now will immediately bring reward and reinforce the desired behavior to bring you to your goals. Before I start this video, I'd like to say the target audience are fat, lazy fucks like myself. People who've been too busy living life, and thus physical health has slipped by the wayside. And you may be thinking, you've already started this video, cocksucker, get on with it. And you're right. But when you run a search for treadmills on the internet, there's a lot of videos out there, but none of them can empathize with being fat and feeling this way. I wrote this narrative with the intent on reaching people out there who are struggling because I'm struggling too. The treadmill was finally delivered and installed Tuesday, November 28th. While waiting, I took the time to clean up our second bedroom, which had become storage. That secondary bedroom in our house had started becoming a personal closet for me, so this was going to be a great opportunity to see if the new treadmill becomes a rack for clothing and laundry. That same day, I managed to walk on the treadmill for 3 hours. No one ever talks about walking on treadmills without shoes. Well, I did this only wearing socks, and I learned by the end of it that that was a horrible idea. I can already tell that a pair of shoes alleviate the concussive force against your feet as they make contact with the belt. So wear shoes. Oh well, I can tell this was a very superficial pain, and I should be healed by the next day, or so I thought. I woke up in a lot of pain. I couldn't even walk down the stairs. It wasn't the bottoms of my feet that were bothering me, but rather the upper legs. Even my stabilizers between my legs were aching. You remember that slut machine from high school, in the workout room? It was like I was using that all day, and now I was paying the price. My inner thighs were really aching all day long. I knew I wasn't going to be able to use the treadmill today, but that's fine. My legs need to regenerate back to good health. Bones, muscles, and everything else. It's funny because my wife warned me to ease into it. I am easing into it, but my goal is to walk for 4 hours per day, not just 1 hour. I figure, Anyone could walk for 1 hour per day. But when I was young, I used to walk all the time. If I want to see results, I think 4 hours is the way to go. But man, I was beat to hell after only walking a steady pace for 3 hours. How the hell could I let this happen? I spent almost every day in high school talking to girls, skateboarding, and walking everywhere. I would have never guessed I'd turn into such a soft little bitch. It was obvious my bones and muscles had atrophied from my desk job. Heck, when I was a server in restaurants, I'd sometimes crank out a double and work a full 12-hour day. Then I'd come home and stay up drinking. On many occasions, the crew and I would be out on our feet all day and then head to the bars afterwards. The very idea of a man unfit for walking just doesn't sit well with my soul, and hopefully yours as well. If that doesn't help convince you to buy a treadmill, then I don't know what will. But what's the point of having money if you're going to be a fat fuck? Wednesday, November 29th, I rested. I want to note that during this time waiting for a treadmill, I was eating within a caloric deficit. My caloric goal was to be about 2,000 or less, depending on how I was feeling that day. By Thursday the next day, I did only 2 hours on the treadmill. I wanted to be careful, as come Friday, December 1st, I wanted to start my daily commitments of 4 hours per day walking. Friday, December 1st finally came around, and I managed to knock out 3 hours of walking at a decent pace on the treadmill. For me, as a beginner, a good natural pace is about 2.5, give or take. I'll start dicking with the incline settings once I build the habit of walking again and the strength to do it consistently. That following Saturday, I could barely walk again. This time it was my Achilles tendons that were hurting. Oh well, I figured I'm still building up the strength in my legs, so I would rest and get back on the treadmill as soon as I'm recovered. That's okay. I had some errands to run anyway, and went out of my way to do extra walking. I've noticed when it comes to shopping, I've never been one of those people that try to find a good parking spot near the entrance, nor do I like to park at the end of the parking lot. What I usually do is try to park around the side of the building, usually where the employees are. I tend to always find an easy spot, and when I get out of my car, I'm right next to the building. Granted, I still need to walk a good distance around the corner to find the entrance. It was a Saturday, and I was getting my shopping done. I noticed something. I felt amazing. Although my legs hurt, my mind felt so clear. I felt alive. I felt lighter, more mobile. I was starting to feel like I did when I was a young man out of high school. Then I walked past the lady who was smoking, and that freshly lit cigarette took me right back. Man, it felt good. I knew I had found the magical secret most people are looking for in life. And yes, you can buy it. It's a fucking treadmill. Buy a nice one and use it. Money can buy you happiness. It's currently Sunday, and I'm sitting at my computer having my morning coffee and typing up this script. My legs don't hurt, but I'm unsure if I'm going to use the treadmill today. I want to make sure my legs have ample time to recover, as they've atrophied pretty badly over the years. Considering walking is a low-impact exercise, I think what I'll try to do is walk at least 1 hour, but I definitely want to have strength for tomorrow because Mondays suck, and walking is a great way to keep my body and mind charged while I'm working. I did break my diet yesterday. I went over my calories for the day, but that's okay. My legs were still recovering, so I figure the extra protein will be a net positive in the long run. Right now, my main priority is my commitment to the treadmill. I'd rather wake up feeling energized than chance fucking up my recovery and feeling like crap because I'm trying to cut while simultaneously growing my legs back to strength. Sunday, December 3rd, update supplemental. Yeah, my Achilles is fucked. It's hard to walk. Went shopping today and was walking around like an old man who just shit himself. I'm gonna need to let this heal, and I'll likely use this as an excuse to eat good. Alright, I'd like to talk about inspiration. Not about things that inspire me or things that should inspire you, but rather the concept itself. Let me start with an example. You're either inspired or anxious to buy a treadmill. If you're like me, you already ordered it and you're really just looking for affirmation that you've made the right choice. That's why you're on YouTube listening to this. And that's really why I made this video in the first place. Or maybe you're still on the fence about it and you're paralyzed by your own indecisiveness, and you compensate for this inability to make a decision under the guise of being a strategist. Whatever the case, you're probably doing a search for the word treadmill combined with another keyword like weight loss or results. Unfortunately, very few people are capable of articulating the spiritual and emotional support you're looking for. God damn it, YouTube. Just give me a story of a fat fuck who lost a bunch of weight and changed his life buying a treadmill. Yeah, I was having trouble finding such a story myself. I did find a review of the treadmill I purchased, but I really don't give a shit about the bells and whistles so long as the thing is mechanically sound. So we're looking for inspiration. You can do a Google search for treadmill, weight loss, Reddit. Even though Reddit is a liberal shithole, there's still years and years of entries pertaining to unique situations and hobbies. Some of the anecdotal comments might be more useful than the product reviews on Amazon written by shills and bots. So you find an old post on Reddit. It says, "Hey, I'm fat and thinking about getting a treadmill for weight loss. Can someone please provide me with an opinion? Please and thanks." Then the first comment is usually some jackoff saying something like, "You know you have 2 legs in the outside for free, right? I'd start going outside before dishing out any money for a treadmill, eh?" First of all, fuck that guy. Again, going back to inspiration, I have the nicest house in the neighborhood. Trust me, that says a lot more about the neighborhood than it does about my house. Plus, my house is on a fairly busy road. Do you think I want to spend my time getting dressed and walking through a shabby neighborhood? First of all, within a few houses, I'll come to the first intersection where I need to make sure I don't get hit by a car trying to cross the road. Then I wait for a good opportunity to cross, then be met by the same bullshit a block later. Sure, I could walk around the block only ever crossing the alleyways, but do you think I find these old shitty houses inspiring? All it does is remind me that I live in an old crappy neighborhood. Fuck that. With a treadmill, I don't need to see all these tiny houses with $50,000 cars parked outside of them. People make stupid decisions. Anyway, I'm in my own domain, decorated to my liking. It's never too hot or too cold. No one is going to run me over, and I don't need to see anyone's fucking face. Best of all, I can drink my coffee while walking, then get a refill. I'm the king of my castle here, and it gives me a sense of control. I built this little indoor gym, and it's a reflection of me. I can't landscape the neighbor's yard, but I can keep my own area looking pristine, and that inspires me. And after years and years of not walking regularly on a free sidewalk outside, what makes you think I'm going to suddenly change my behavior now? And fuck driving to the gym. I don't want to be in any area swarming with people, as it digs at my sense of autonomy. I need my space. Which is exactly why I'll never go to a McDonald's or the Apple Store. Fuck that shit, that's too many people. And if I'm feeling lazy or bored, I can go for a walk on my treadmill. It's a path of least resistance situation, and it works incredibly well. Honestly, I would have bought the treadmill 2 years ago, but I was already going to the gym at the time. My first thought was, is a treadmill a natural movement? Like, does it actually simulate walking? I don't know why I let such a limiting thought deter me from making a life-changing decision. Anyway, I looked it up on YouTube, and I got some skinny motherfucker who had an entire video about shitting on treadmills, and no fucking way I was going to buy an elliptical, because those things look and feel unnatural. Anyway, I never bought a fucking treadmill. 2 years went by, and I slowly grew more and more out of shape as my legs atrophied. Next time I'll make my own decision. So the question is a treadmill a natural movement that perfectly emulates walking in real life? Who gives a fuck? If you're a fat guy sitting on your ass all day digging an early grave, go ahead and buy a treadmill. Or if you think the elliptical is fun and you actually enjoy it, buy that one. I've heard of plenty of people who actually enjoy the elliptical. Do what works for you. One important thing I'd like to articulate here is just how good I feel having gone from sedentary to active. Now, I've only had the treadmill for about a week and a half, but I feel amazing. Now remember, I've been sedentary for a long time, so let me speak to that feeling first and foremost. In my last job, I worked in a small operations center with a bunch of gluttonous fat asses. I have no shame calling them that because I was a gluttonous fat ass myself. Honestly, the job was boring as shit. We were basically stuck at computers all day, taking tickets as they came in. But these guys were cool as shit, because we were all on the same page. Very funny, genuine bunch of guys. We had a lot of fun, and that was to compensate for the boring nature of the job. For lunch, we'd often go to restaurants and pig out. My boss, equally a fat bastard like myself, would often order us pizzas for all our hard work. And not just any pizza. I mean, this guy would go out of his way to get the good stuff from a local pizza place he knew growing up. Double cheese, crispy bacon pizzas cut into squares. So dang good. And around 1 o'clock after lunch, you'd hear us all moaning in pain. Had to brew another batch of coffee to keep us awake. And we always had great coffee brewing. I'd always make sure to bring fresh heavy whipping cream to keep in the fridge, because I loved my low-carb diet, even though eating zero-carb had proven to fail me repeatedly over the years. Turns out none of those diets actually work if you overeat. To be sincere, I think all these different diets are really just tools to help manage appetite, to get you to eat at a caloric deficit or maintenance phase. And that's all that needs to be said about diets from a practical standpoint. Living life as a fat ass catches up to you. There's always a sense of, well, I guess this is it. This is what I do now. 9 to 5, that's all there is. Then you have your general anxiety, always thinking about the past and worried about the future. Then let's not forget depression. Fuck, if you eat the wrong foods, you might even wake up hungover, especially as you get older. You can wake up so unmotivated you don't even want to leave your bed because of a pizza you devoured the night before. What can I say? I have the appetite of a man. I don't eat like a bitch. Fuck that shit. I'll put an entire pizza in the oven and throw an entire bag of shredded cheese on top of it. I'm telling you, Panda Express made the bigger plate for fat asses like me. Now I'm just waiting for them to make the bigger plate. Sometimes you wake up and you have a gut feeling calling you towards something warm and cheesy. You're not sure what you're going to eat that day, but you know it needs to be warm and have cheese. It's an instinctual feeling only us fat asses know. And you don't fuck around with food when you're a fat ass. You become incredibly decisive and in charge. And where the hell are we going to find the time to change? There's no time for the gym. We're busy. Some of us fat people have families now, or wives to go home to. Half the time, it's more cost-effective to stop at Chipotle on your way home than it is to try to cook something from scratch. Of course, when we do cook something from scratch, it takes a long time because, again, when it comes to food, we don't fuck around. Some of us fat asses are engineers by nature, and we've become very good cooks. And if you're struggling with alcoholism, forget about it. Good luck. All that food on top of a box of wine over a weekend, or a 30 rack, makes things way more difficult. And I could write an entire book about drinking, but for this video, all I want to say when it comes to alcohol, when you consider that only some people find alcohol to work as a powerfully addictive stimulant, while the majority of people can take it or leave it, then there is little reason to try to measure what constitutes an alcoholic. You'll either find it to be one of the best drugs in existence, like myself, or you'll be one of those normies who says shit like, ooh, I can't drink anymore, I'm starting to feel it. Dude, when I'm starting to feel it is when the night starts to begin. I go on adventures and wake up in strange places when I drink. Anyway, figure out what type of person you are, because that's all that really matters. Any effort to try to measure alcoholism is really just to measure the degradation of your life in relationship to drinking. Anyway, I feel awesome. Although I'm walking like I spent the night in Boys Town, I feel so comfortable in my own skin. I'm more engaging with people. I'm no longer concerned about the future or thinking about the past. In which case, I know the future is going to be great because of the amount of time and attention I could spend in the present. Remember when you were in high school, or the years that followed, walking everywhere, hanging out with friends, being excited about the future? That's how I'm starting to feel. Like I'm picking up right where I left off, before I became a sedentary asshole. You know how your one buddy or family member is constantly hitting the gym, and they make it look so easy somehow? They do it because it makes them feel alive and healthy. And while I don't think they can articulate it very well, or sell you on the idea of getting back in shape because they've never suffered from being a fat ass, I think I can actually motivate you right now. You can do this. I know you can. Most of those guys don't know the struggle like we do. For them, it's really a generic character attribute they've taken on over time, much like pumpkin spice lattes or vaping. But I know you guys. Because you can dump an entire bag of shredded cheese on top of an oven pizza, then fold it in half like a taco and eat it while the orange grease drips everywhere, then I know you can walk your fat butt on a treadmill. You were born to do great things. Just like that deep dish pizza you devoured the other night, which gave you gas that was so bad it could peel paint off the walls. Chances are, you already waste money on plenty of bullshit on the internet. So just order a treadmill. PayPal credit that shit or whatever you gotta do, because you really can't put a price on living a good life. Well, actually, you can. It's like $1,200. But that's gonna be better than squandering your HSA on medical bills and prescription drugs when you're older. Take care of shit now, or just save up cash for it, whatever it takes. I know if Dave Ramsey's listening right now, he's like, don't fucking put it on a credit card, asshole. Under all that flab is the body of a Roman statue. Trust me, in a few weeks, you're gonna feel much better. You know, unless you're like Brendan Fraser's character in the Whale movie, don't get yourself killed trying to exercise, because then you won't be able to get better at all. Anyway, be sure to comment your story in the comments. And if this video is more than a year old by the time you view it, and I seem to have disappeared off the face of the earth, You can just assume I fell off the wagon and I'm fatter than ever.